I have to make sure that you really write good answers. ये किसके साथ आप लिंक कर सकते हो, किसके आइडियाज के साथ ये अलाइन होता है. There are some keywords of the strategy. Then there will be inequality. जब inequality होगी तो लोगों को लगेगा कि injustice हो रहा है. If you know how to mold the content, how to interlink the content, you can really write good answer, fair answer. Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to the quality enrichment program. And from the today, we are going to start this entire program. Okay. But today is the orientation session. Fine. Okay. Now let me focus on this session. Light reflections around. That is fine. See, that is okay. Thoda sa adjust kar lo. I will adjust the lights later on in the next session. Fine. So the orientation session is very, very important. Now orientation session is important. What we are going to see in the orientation session. In the orientation session, we will actually try to understand what this entire program about. And the most important thing is that the most important thing about the orientation session is we will understand what the subject is. That is the main topic of our today's session. The main topic of today's session is to understand what the subject is. I will first tell you what is the problem. What is the problem with PSIR? There is a lot of discussion that few people are getting good score, few people are not getting score. So the problem is fundamentally few people are really able to understand what the subject is. We have studied so many subjects in the school, in the college, and in everywhere. Okay, even in the UPSC we are studying so many subjects. But I think the most important thing which is lacking when we approach the PSIR is basically we are not trying to understand the essence of the subject. Essence of the subject is subject ka essence. Okay. In the entire session, in the entire duration of the course, I am going to use English language prominently. At least 90 to 95% I will speak in English. But at the same time, I will also try to tell things. I will try to convey the things in Hindi also. Okay. But I think English will be comfortable for everyone. So medium of language will be English mostly. Fine. That is okay. So that no one will be excluded and no one will feel that they haven't understand anything. Fine. So the main topic is we have to understand what is the essence of PSIR. Correct? PSIR ka essence kya hai? Actually, political science and international relation. What this subject is about, that we have to understand, and that is the central point of our discussion today. Before that, we will also try to understand what is the core objective of this program, what is the core mission of the program. Because recently I have been in interaction with so many students. I have talked to so many students, and I continue to talk to students. I continue to keep in touch with them so that I understand what is the problem. And there are so many problems, so many challenges in the PSIR. So first of all, I want to tell you that first of all, I welcome you all in the quality enrichment program at Sarrthi IAS, and this program is really a one-stop solution for you and your mains examination and to score really well. Now, the important thing I would like to tell you to all of you as a friends, all of you as a students, that don't get panic. Don't get panic. Don't think. Of course, I understand that there is a limited amount of time to our mains preparation. This is first thing, correct? That you all agree that we have a very limited amount of time, but that I also know. Okay. And I have a lot of responsibility. I have to guide you. I have to mentor you. I have to cover the syllabus. I have to tell you the approach of answer writing. I have to make sure that you really do well. I have to make sure that you really write good answers. I have to make sure that I hold you accountable for all of your answer writing sessions and everything. Correct? So I have tremendous responsibility, and trust me, I am going to deliver it with all the commitment, confidence, and passion. Correct? So the most important thing is that first of all, you don't get panic. We don't need to get panic. Everything will happen gradually. You will get the notes. Your syllabus will be completed, and everything will be done. Okay. So just relax. Now, because you have enrolled into this course, so it's my responsibility to carry forward, to guide you, and to make sure that we really do well in the political science this year. Okay. So that is my responsibility. So do not worry about it. Now, the mission and the objective of this entire program is, let's try to understand what is the mission of the program. As you know, you might have definitely gone through the brochure, and you might have probably gone through a couple of my videos where I have talked about the QEP program, what are its features, and etc. But even in the orientation session, I would like to tell you the mission and the objective. Fine. mission and the objective of this program. So the mission and the objective of this program is we will have to work upon the answer writing. We have to work upon the answer writing. See, there are three things. There are three things in the preparation. First is content consolidation, content building, understanding. Okay, this is the first thing. Fine. The second thing is revising and brainstorming the things so many times so that we really understand the subject and we can really retain. See, I am telling you a couple of words which you have to understand. You have to note down basically. Why? Because they are very important. There are some keywords. There are some keywords of the strategy. First of all, the first thing is understanding. I am requesting you, please note down all these keywords at least. Okay, and just post it on your wall where you study. Correct. The first thing is that conceptual clarity and understanding. This is very important, and I want to tell you, with all of my experiments, learning, discussions, communication and interaction with the students, I have realized that this is the most significant thing which we all are collectively lacking, the understanding and conceptual clarity. Once more, I am telling you, the understanding and conceptual clarity is a very important thing. Please note down understanding and conceptual clarity. This is one thing. The second thing is that multiple revisions. This is very important because see, ultimately, whatever you write in the answer, okay, whatever you write in the answer, first of all, I want to tell you that we as a person, be it a male, female, whatever our graduation, whatever whatever the achievements we have made, whatever, irrespective of anything, nobody is going to know us. Nobody is going to know us about what we are. At least when we talk about the UPSC examination, when we are talking about the examiner, so he really don't know who we are, what is our name and anything. Correct? He is not going to know any details about it. If anything, which is he going to check, which is he going to judge on the basis of which is that the answer. So our answer, what we write in the paper, please keep it in mind, our answer which we write in the UPSC examination, that is the ultimate thing which is going to be represented in front of the examiner, and on the basis of which the reviewer is going to provide, reviewer is going to give us a marks. Okay, so reviewer जो है, examiner जो है, UPSC जो है, हमें marks सिर्फ और सिर्फ हमारे answer के basis पर ही देगा. Ultimately the answer is important. Okay, in the entire preparation, revision is most important, and most important thing is answer writing, because answer writing is going to represent you in front of the examiner. So this is important thing. This is something which you have to focus upon. Correct? I will come up to the notes, I will come up to the revision strategy, I will come up to every second thing which is required, because see, you are here sitting in front of your video and the lecture, but I have already prepared everything. I am here with lot of preparation, with lot of planning, and lot of I want to execute all these things. So do not worry about it. So just focus here what we are trying to discuss. Answer is very important, and this is only thing which is going to represent us, and that's why it has to be very perfect, and very perfect. Now, what is the definition of a perfect answer? What is a good answer? That is something which we have to understand. But here, very important thing again is, any answer of any subject, you cannot really write good answers, you cannot really do justice with the question, you cannot really do justice with the answer of that particular question without understanding the broader idea, the ultimate goal, the core idea of that subject. What is political science? When you understand what is political science, you can really write good answers. Trust me, once you understand what is political science, what is its goal, what is its aim, you will really understand what it means a good answer. Okay. Now, in this entire duration of the course, we are going to understand how to write good answers, how to decode the questions, what are the important things in the answer, and most importantly, how to improve the speed, how to improve the quality. Everything we are going to discuss in different session, and everything we are going to work upon, so that gradually, eventually, by the time we approach the mains, we are ready with all these things. Okay, we are also going to talk about content creation through answer writing. Now, this is also very new segment, new aspect, which most of the time we do not focus upon, But this, I would say, is the most important thing in the answer writing, the content creation during the answer. Okay, the content creation during the answer, because the important thing is that we cannot really have the answer for each and every question in the UPSC examination. At least during the hall, during the examination in the hall, we cannot really have the answer for every question. There will be so many questions which will be a surprise, and in that case we will have to create the content instead of relying upon what we are reading. I will come upon it and I will discuss about it in detail. Okay, at the same time, how to maintain the flow of the answer, how to maintain the flow in the entire answer, how to ensure that we write relevant content, that is also very important thing. And at the same time, how to cover the entire content, entire PSIR in the duration of these 2 months. See, we have 3 months of the time, roughly 3 months, if not probably less than that, correct? Not completely 3 months, but less than 3 months. But 2 months, in the 2 months, we are going to complete the entire syllabus. We are going to do the revision. We are going to do the answer writing practice. And also we are going to do the mentorship and everything. Fine. So moving forward, now overall the approach of the 2 months. In these 2 months, what is going to be our modus operandi and what we are going to do? In 2 महीनों में हम क्या-क्या करने वाले हैं? First of all, this is quality enrichment program, so it is not just an answer writing program. Okay, answer writing is one of the significant component of this entire program, but this is not exclusively an answer writing program. This is actually a quality enrichment program where we will try to cover your entire content, most of the important things, through the discussion of the previous year questions. Okay, now here the previous year questions are important. Otherwise, first of all, the methodology which we are going to follow is the question answer. Instead of I am directly teaching you a topic, I would prefer to discuss the questions and answers, and through that I will prefer to cover the topics. Okay, so how this is going to benefit? First of all, हमें इसका फायदा कैसे होने वाला है? We are going to benefit through it first because most of the important topics, we as a student, most of the time we do not have an idea that what to read and what not to read. Correct? But when we know that this is the topic and these are the previous year questions asked on this particular topic, so in that case, those topics are important. Those topics becomes important. And while I discuss the answer, जब मैं उन questions के answer discuss करूंगा, so I will make sure that I will not just discuss the topic of the question or not just discuss the topic of that particular question, but I will also try to discuss the significant peripheral and important topics which are related to that. Correct? जो हमारे main topics होंगे, this is going to be our entire course of action. We will also cover the current affairs. Okay, current affair will be done, value addition will be done. You don't have to go for any kind of value addition. You don't have to go for any kind of value addition. Any kind of value addition will be provided by me through the answer writing discussion. Fine. And we will have enough time. Okay, we will have enough time to complete all these things, and also we will ensure the revision. How we will ensure the revision, that you will come to know, because first, for example, tomorrow is the session, then day after tomorrow there is no session, and then after that there is a session. So day after tomorrow you have a time to cover whatever the topic in the next session. So that is how you can read and revise on the same day, and the topics given in the schedule on that particular session are very much limited and doable, so you can really read them and revise them. There might be question in your mind that I have not even completed entire this political science even once, okay, or I do not have enough content to write the answer. How will I be able to write the answer? मैं कैसे answer लिख पाऊंगा? Correct? ये सब doubts आपके मन में होंगे. But again, I am telling you, just wait for 2 to 3 sessions, and in 2 to 3 sessions you will realize that how easy it is and how much doable it is. Fine. So we are going to do all these things. We will cover the content, most of our important things, and at the same time, the addition to all these things. Last year probably I have not covered the probable topics, the probable question, but this time in this QEP, the new aspect is that we are also not just going to cover the topics which are there in the syllabus, but at the same time, based on the overall dynamics of the subject, the current affairs, the contemporary developments, I am also going to integrate some probable topics, some probable possible topics, some probable possible questions which UPSC may ask in the coming times, at least this year or next year. So such kind of topics will also be integrated in our discussion, correct? So our discussion of the question and answer will not be very much limited to that topic, but our discussion will be very much comprehensive, thorough, which will ensure that not just you cover that particular topic which is asked in the question, but also the other significant and related topics, so that we can comprehensively cover that entire chapter or entire topic basically. And at the same time, it will come up along with the content addition from the current affairs and contemporary developments. Okay, so you don't have to read current affairs, you don't have to do any kind of value addition, that everything will be done by me, so you don't have to worry about. And most important thing is personal inputs. I am going to provide you personal inputs. I will make sure that, because this is idea in my mind, that irrespective of how many number of students we have in our batch, I will make sure that I will at least connect with each one of us, each one of you, each one of the candidate in the batch, at least once or twice in the entire duration at the personal level, like Google Meet or Zoom session, so that I can understand how their preparation is going on, what the challenges they are facing, and how can they improve. Okay, so personal mentorship, although is not an exclusive part of the program, but I basically from my own side, I am going to engage with the personal mentorship, because I really want to emphasize upon answer writing, and I want to really emphasize upon the marks improvement, because ultimately we have to improve the marks, ultimately we have to score more, and for that anything which is required to be done from my side, I am there and I am ready to do it. Fine, this is okay till now, this is okay, यहाँ तक ठीक है. Just let me know कि जहां तक हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं वहां तक ठीक है, यहां तक समझ में आ रहा है, you are clear with the objective of the program. So first of all, let's try to understand what is the modus operandi, कैसे हम प्रोग्राम को कंडक्ट करने वाले हैं. Tomorrow is the live answer writing session 1. Okay, so the topic, you might have the schedule, you might have the brochure where there is the listing of the topics. Plato, Aristotle and Machiavelli is the topic probably, correct? So this is the topic, and now what we have to do, now what is expected from you is basically before the laws. It means before tomorrow, like today, you have to study these topics. You have to study these topics. See, of course, I guess that there are many students, maximum number of students who are already, completed the PSIR preparation at least once or twice. So nothing in this topic is completely new. Even if it is new for you, I will tell you how to read. There are synoptic notes. You can check on your portal. There are synoptic notes of this topic. If not, unfortunately, if team forgot to upload, or by any case, if they have not uploaded, I will immediately after the class tell them to upload. They will upload the document. You have to, the document is very crisp, very concise, very, only important things are in a very specific terms it is given. So you have to read. You can follow the synoptic notes if you are already ready-made notes. अगर आपके पास आपके खुद के नोट्स पहले से बने हुए हैं, okay, and if you think that they are sufficient to understand the topic, you can go through your own notes. But although if you have not your own notes and you want something very easy to revise thing, then you can go for the synoptic notes which you will get on your portal. Okay, second thing, I am going to upload maximum handouts in the advance, correct? In the advance I am going to upload, but you have to only focus. For example, if tomorrow is the Machiavelli, just make sure that you have this document. Okay, do not ask me for the entire political theory, and don't tell me that I am going to read first this particular topic, democracy, and just try to follow the schedule. Have patience, have trust, follow the schedule. Everything will be completed and everything will be given a due attention, due time, and due amount of energy and focus, correct? So you study, you prepare the topic at your level best, and you revise it. Fine. Do not go for too much of content. Do not go behind too much of content. It is not content. Too much of content is not important. You need limited amount of content, but you should be able to play with the content. You should be able to mold the content like a water. Okay. Just give me 2 minutes. Fine. So you will do this at your level, and you will come to the session. Also, one more important thing, you have to focus upon the brainstorming. Whenever you read, first of all, whenever you read the topic, when you will today read the topic, Plato, Machiavelli, Aristotle, whatever, you have to make sure that you just not cover the topic, you revise it at least 2 times. Okay, you read it once, revise it 2 times, and at least once you have to do brainstorming. आपको एक बार कम से कम brainstorming करनी है. So this is the process you have to follow, because to write the answer you need minimum amount of content. आपको एक basic understanding चाहिए topic की. You must have some basic understanding of the topic. You must have some basic amount of content. Correct? So उतना आपके पास होना चाहिए. Then only you will be able to write the answer. So here you have to do this, you have to read, you have to revise at least twice. Revision is very important. And then you do brainstorming. Okay, now how to do brainstorming I am going to tell you, but before that, because you need lot of time to read and you need lot of time to revise it twice, you have to make sure that your content is very much limited. Your content is very much limited. Do not go for such notes which are so bulky, which have 100 and 80 to 100 pages for only Plato. Do not go for such notes. You have to understand that we have limited amount of time. In that we have to read, we have to revise, we have to do brainstorming, we have to do answer writing, then in value addition, then improvement in the answer writing, then lot of things. There are n number of things which we have to focus. Also, one more important thing I want to tell you: do not commit blunder. What is the blunder? I will tell you. There are many students who have really good understanding of this subject, but they don't even write single test paper. They don't even write single test, and that is how they do a biggest blunder. Because see, having content is not a big thing. You have a content, even if you do not have, if you have limited content, or even if you lack the content on particular question, you still can write the answer if you know the technique of how to write the answer. This is very interesting, which is we are also going to understand in the entire duration of our course, that how to write the content, how to write a better answer, a fair answer, even when we fall short of content. जब हमारे पास content नहीं भी होगा, या हमारे पास उस particular question को हम उस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक को हम याद नहीं कर पा रहे, ऐसे सिचुएशन में हम किस तरीके से आंसर लिखे, that is also I am going to tell you. So I want to tell you that we have a very limited amount of content, and we need really limited amount of content. If you know how to mold the content, how to interlink the content, you can really write good answer, fair answer, and you can really write ample amount of content even for the 20 marker question. Even when you do not understand, even when you do not know the topic. Okay, अगर आपके पास ज्यादा टॉपिक के बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं होगी, you can still, but for that you have to make sure that you revise and you do brainstorming. Now, what is brainstorming? How to do brainstorming? It is very simple process. This is not a rocket science. Brainstorming is simply you have to just read and revise, and then after reading and revise, you have to just close the book. You have to just memorize what are the topics. For example, it's democracy. Then what is democracy? What are the contemporary theories of democracy? Then what is elitist theory of democracy? What are the scholars? You just have to keep revising in your mind without looking at the books. That is brainstorming, and that is very important. Why brainstorming is important? Because when you do brainstorming, then it increases your retention power, and retention is very important in UPSC. Of course, in any examination, retention is very important. Because the problem is when we talk about the speed of the answer writing. See, there are many problems we face. Like we face one important problem is that we cannot cover the entire paper. हम पूरा पेपर कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाते हैं. Why? Because हमारा राइटिंग स्पीड जो है वो कम होता है. Our writing speed is very less, and that's why we cannot complete the paper. But you have to understand that it is not actually our writing speed is less. It is our processing speed is less. We cannot recall the content during the exam hall. Agar if there is a situation, for example, if there is a question on Plato and you are able to recall everything, if you know everything, if you are able to recall everything very easily, you will be able to write the question in a very speedily manner. आप बहुत स्पीडली लिख पाओगे क्वेश्चन के आंसर को. लेकिन जब आप किसी कंटेंट को, किसी पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक को याद ही नहीं कर पाओगे, आपको याद ही नहीं आएगा टॉपिक, तो इट विल बिकम वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर यू टू राइट द आंसर इन द टाइम. करेक्ट? और जब टाइम में कर नहीं पाएंगे तो वी विल गेट पैनिक अगेन इन द एग्जाम हॉल. सो यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग विल हेल्प अस to memorize things and to keep them, to retain them in the mind. And once we are able to retain the things in the mind, then it becomes very easy to reproduce them in the question, in the answer, in the exam hall, in the test. Correct? So you have to understand the importance of brainstorming. This is okay? yahan tak fine hai? Yahan tak theek hai? Okay. Now, then what will we do? In this session, during this session, now you have read, you have revised, you have done brainstorming of the topic. Now you will have a good amount of content on the topic, and you will have the understanding of the topic. So you will come to a class tomorrow, and tomorrow what we'll do at the same time, classes timing I will tell you 6:30 is going to be our regular timing of the class, 6:30. Okay, so 6:30 we will sit. I will write a question here. I will write a previous year question. I will pick up some previous year's question, 5 questions. In every session we are going to discuss 5 sessions. So I am going to pick up 5 questions. Out of the 5 questions, the first question I will write here on the board. The question, if let's say it is of the 10 marks, if it is for the 15 marks, if it is for the 20 marks, whatever. Okay, based on that I am going to allocate a time. So we will start a timer here. We will start a timer here. And let's say if the question is of the 10 marks, then we will have a 7 minutes time. You will have 7 minutes time. So you will have to write answer by your own first. First you will have to write the answer by your own. आपको खुद को पहले आंसर लिखना है based on whatever understanding you have. वो कैसा भी आंसर हो, be it a poor quality, be it is taking lot of time, whatever it is. But one important thing which you have to do is you have to write the answer. Just keep this thing in mind. This is very important. बाद में समय जाने के बाद पछताने में कोई फायदा नहीं. There is no benefit of regretting after you lost the entire time. I tell you, even if you don't read the topic, just come to a session and write the answer. अगर आपने टॉपिक नहीं भी पढ़ा है, कल को आपकी तैयारी नहीं हुई, आपने टॉपिक नहीं पढ़ा है, रिवाइज नहीं किया, कुछ नहीं किया, you don't know the single word of that particular topic, you have to still come to a session and you have to still write the answer. You have to make it a rule that you have to write the answer during the sessions live. And I am going to ensure it because I am going to hold you accountable, because every session, in every single session, whatever answer you have to write, you have to scan, you have to make a PDF and you have to send it to me. Okay, where you have to send it to me, that also I will tell you, do not worry about it, but you have to send it to me. So I will make sure that you see, I am not going to evaluate your answers. Definitely it is not possible. It is not, I am not asking you to send your answers because I am going to evaluate it. No, I am going to check it whether you are writing or not. So I want that discipline. I want that consistency in your answer writing, even irrespective of you study or not, you have to come and write the answer. So that is clear. So we will turn on the timer. You will have 7 minutes for one question of 10 markers or 11 minutes for the 15 marker question. You will write and then timer will be off and then I will pick up the question. Once I will pick up the question, then I will not just tell you about the answer. Okay, after 7 minutes, I will start discussing the question, start discussing the answer. First, I will tell you what is the question. We will read the question twice. We will try to understand what is the question. We will try to understand what is the demand of the question. We will try to break down the question so that we can understand and we can decode the question. Correct? Because see, this entire thing is, this is basically, we know this is answer writing. But more than answer writing, it is just a matter of demand and supply. It is a matter of demand and supply. Okay, in the question there is a demand, in the answer you have to provide the supply. Whatever the demand is, you have to provide the supply. So this is basically demand and supply. Okay, writing anything is not going to, if there is a demand of the rice in the market and you are providing wheat, so that is not going to make a sense. You have to provide the rice. Okay, if the demand is for the rice, so you have to understand this all matter is about the demand and supply. Fine. So you have to understand the demand, you have to make sure that you address the demand. Now when next thing is, so we will break down the topic and then we will identify the demand. We will try to then discuss everything. Then we will discuss the answer, not just the answer. First, I will tell you what is the topic. If the question is Plato is an enemy of open society, so I will tell you briefly about Plato. What are the important topics of the Plato? What you have to read about Plato? Like Plato's theory of justice is important. Plato's idea of ideal state is important. Criticism of Aristotle to the Plato's idealism is important. Now, okay, so these are a couple of topics which I am going to tell you that you have to read about that topic. So this is one important thing I am going to discuss. Second important thing which we are going to discuss is that what is then open society? Then why Karl Popper call him an enemy? So we will break down the entire answer also, and we will then write all the points right from the introduction to conclusion in a very organic way. And in the duration of our answer writing, if the question demand some current relevance, अगर कोई क्वेश्चन में ऐसा जरूरी है कि उसमें करंट रेलेवेंस की जो डिमांड है वो है, so then I will also try to integrate some current example, some current scenario. We will not just understand Plato's idealism, but we will also try to understand Plato's idealism in the current context. क्या आज के context में, for example, when Plato talk about the philosopher king, what is the current relevance of that particular idea in the contemporary relevance? Is there any example? उसमें कौन सा डिबेट है? फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने मेरे ब्लूप्रिंट वाले वीडियो में भी इसके बारे में बात की है कि जनरलिस्टिक और स्पेशलिस्टिक अप्रोच, तो ये इसमें कहीं ना कहीं लिंक होता है. सो वी विल ट्राई टू इंटरलिंक इट विथ सो मेनी थिंग्स, सो मेनी पॉसिबल थिंग्स. जहां जहां हम इसको इंटरलिंक कर सकते हैं वहां हम इसको इंटरलिंक करने की कोशिश करेंगे. नाउ आई रेगुलरली यूज दिस वर्ड इंटरलिंक. इंटरलिंक को मैं बहुत ज्यादा यूज करता हूं बिकॉज इंटरलिंक इज समथिंग which help us create the content. हम interlinking करके content को create कर सकते हैं. See, interlinking is very very important, very very important. There are two things. See, you can understand one particular topic in isolation and you can understand one particular topic in its own context, in its own particular sphere of overall landscape. For example, जैसे हम environment में देखते हैं, there are two types of conservation techniques. एक होता है कि इन सिटू और एक होता है कि मतलब एक ऑन साइट होता है और एक उसके बाहर, जैसे कि जंगल में ही उसका बेसिकली प्रिजर्वेशन करना, कंजर्वेशन करना और उसको जू में कंजर्वेशन करना. दोनों में फर्क है. जब हम किसी चीज को व्हेन वी अंडरस्टैंड एनीथिंग इन आइसोलेशन वी कैन नॉट रियली डू जस्टिस विद दैट. When we understand things in the real time, again I want to highlight this particular word. There are two things. One is isolation, okay, and second is real time. Just tell me, can we understand political theory, political science in isolation? Just tell me. We cannot really understand the political theory in isolation. We have to understand it in the real life world. Okay, हमें रियल लाइफ में इसको समझना होगा, रियल टाइम में इसको समझना होगा. बिकॉज पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी, अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन आई वांट टू टेल यू, पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी इज नॉट एन एसे. पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी इज नॉट अ फिक्शन बुक. पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी कोई फिक्शन बुक नहीं है, ये असल जिंदगी की कहानी है. ओके, पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी किसी भी तरीके की कोई फिक्शन बुक नहीं है, कोई इस तरीके की मतलब इमेजिनरी आइडिया नहीं है. It's a real life problem solving book. It's a real life problem solving technique. Political theory is all about understanding the problem and solving it. This is the basic crux of the subject. If we understand the crux, then it will reflect in our answer. Fine. So we will discuss all these things. Then, okay. So answer writing, content consolidation, value addition, etc. Now these are very important things. Okay, I know that we have to cover the content, we have to do value addition. These are all important things. But even more important thing than this is the basically crux of the subject, essence of the subject, which I was actually talking about. जिसके बारे में मैं बात कर रहा हूँ शुरुआत से ही कि हर सब्जेक्ट का एक एसेंस होता है और अगर हम उस एसेंस को समझेंगे, if we understand the crux of the subject, then it becomes really very easy for us to write the answer. और आपको 2-3 सेशंस में डिफरेंस महसूस होगा, 2-3 सेशंस में आपको डिफरेंस समझ में आएगा. लेट अस ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज दिस सब्जेक्ट अबाउट. ओके, थोड़ा सा सेशन एक्सटेंड हो जाएगा, थोड़ी सी 2-4 चीजें ज्यादा डिस्कस होगी, लेकिन जब हम कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली समझेंगे चीजों को तो इट विल मेक सेंस. बिकॉज द प्रॉब्लम इज currently what we are doing ki what is the critically examine elitist theory of democracy, elitist perspective of democracy in the postmodern context, whatever the question is. So we know things in a theoretical manner, but we do not know the context. We do not have a comprehensive idea of that particular topic, and that's where we lack. Fine. So political theory basically is all about understanding. What to understand? Political development processes, institution, vote, values, etc. All the things we have to understand about the political landscape. We frequently use the word political system, but see, political landscape I would prefer to use because political landscape is a broader word and broader idea which can represent in everything in the political science. So political science is basically everything we talk about, we understand about the political landscape. Okay, so we have to understand whatever the political developments, जैसे कुछ भी होता है, सरकार बदल रही है, राइज ऑफ पॉपुलिज्म हो रहा है, न्यू लिबरल पॉलिसीज जो है वो बेसिकली काफी ज्यादा एक्सपैंड हो रही है, व्हाटएवर. सो दीज आर ऑल पॉलिटिकल डेवलपमेंट्स. ओके, ब्रिक्स में से यूरोपियन यूनियन से अपना एग्जिट होना, ब्रेक्सिट जो है, करेक्ट, यूरोपियन यूनियन से यूके का एग्जिट होना, दैट इज अ पॉलिटिकल डेवलपमेंट. फाइन. पॉपुलिज्म का राइज होना, दैट इज अ पॉलिटिकल डेवलपमेंट. Deglobalization होना, that's a political development. Reverse globalization, that's a political development. Correct. So these are the major political developments. These are the political development. These are the political processes. There are political institutions. And when we say the political institution, do not just restrict your understanding of political institution to judiciary, parliament. There are so many political institutions. There are international, global institutions. For example, United Nations Security Council is also a political institution. There is a UN Peacekeeping Council, that is also a political institution. There are some climate change organizations. They are also in a way political institutions, because there is the people come together, they make decisions, they make laws, they make agreements, which then they are applicable to everyone, and they are actually coming together to solve a problem. Now see, interlinking, if you try to interlink, जब हम coming together की बात करते हैं, when people come together and then they become powerful, what is this idea about? ये किसका idea? आप मुझे comment box में बताओ. जब लोग साथ में आते, for example, when global leaders coming together, they are discussing and they are becoming more powerful together. When they disperse, they become less powerful. When they come together, they become more power. Whose idea is this? Just try to interlink. Fine. So understanding, then identifying what are the issues, what are the trends, what are the challenges, what are the problems. Hannah Arendt, correct, right? Very good. Hannah Arendt, correct. तो इस तरीके से आपको हर चीज में, एवरीवेयर यू टॉक, एनीथिंग यू टॉक अबाउट, एवरीथिंग यू टॉक अबाउट, यू जस्ट ट्राई टू इंटरलिंक. जब मैं कहता हूं कि देयर इज टू मच ऑफ इनइक्वालिटी इन द वर्ल्ड इंक्रीजिंग, देयर इज टू मच ऑफ inequality, unequal distribution of the wealth, and there is too much of resentment, so there is a possibility of the revolution, and basically a civil war is possible. So who can you link it with? ये किसके साथ आप लिंक कर सकते हो, किसके आइडियाज के साथ ये अलाइन होता है, किसके आइडियाज आज भी इससे रिलेवेंट है. तो हमें इस तरीके से बेसिकली इंटरलिंक करते रहना है, हर बार हर जगह इंटरलिंक करते रहना है, करेक्ट. Even if you scroll down, for example, recently I started scrolling the Instagram. So while scrolling the Instagram reels, whatever I see, I try to relate it with, and I'm able to relate so many things. Fine. Okay. Yes, Aristotle, you can relate it with Aristotle, you can relate it with the Marx. Fine. Then, so identify the challenges. For example, if I ask you as a political science students, what are the two major fundamental problems in the political science, in the contemporary world, in the today's present time, आज के present time में मुझे दो मेन प्रॉब्लम बताओ जो पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी बेसिकली फेस कर रहा है. जस्ट टेल मी इन द कमेंट बॉक्स. आई एम वेटिंग फॉर 1 minute. देयर आर बिगर प्रॉब्लम्स टू सॉल्व. पॉलिटिकल साइंस एक सब्जेक्ट है, और इस सब्जेक्ट के जो स्कॉलर्स है, करेक्ट, आप भी स्कॉलर्स हो, मैं भी स्कॉलर हूं, हम सब लोग स्कॉलर्स है. हम लोग पॉलिटिकल साइंस के अगर स्टूडेंट्स हैं, तो हमें अगर प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करना है, हमें पॉलिटिकल साइंस की, मतलब पॉलिटिकल साइंस के डोमेन में जो पॉलिटिकल लैंडस्केप है, फॉर एग्जांपल टेररिज्म इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज. रिसेंटली हमने एक वी हैव विटनेस्ड टेरर अटैक. ओके, सो दैट इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम. व्हाई इट इज द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम? बिकॉज इट्स डन बाय द नॉन स्टेट एक्टर्स. Although the state sponsored terrorism is also there, so there is a link between state and non-state actors, and these activities are cross-border activities. So this is one of the problem. Why this is a problem? Because it creates uncertainty, it creates anarchical situation, it creates instability, destability, it's create, correct. So it creates lot of problem. It actually discourage a political system. It questions the relevance of the government system. It questions the social contract itself. ये जो सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जिसके आधार पर ये स्टेट बना हुआ है, इसी को क्वेश्चन करता है. बिकॉज द अल्टीमेट गोल ऑफ द स्टेट वाज टू प्रोवाइड सिक्योरिटी टू द पीपल, करेक्ट. बट आर वी सिक्योर? दैट इज द मेन क्वेश्चन. द टेररिज्म लाइक प्रॉब्लम्स आर देयर, साइबर टेररिज्म प्रॉब्लम्स आर देयर, देयर आर वाटर वॉर्स, करेक्ट, देयर आर क्लाइमेट चेंज रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम्स, so there are hunger related problems, and states are not able to solve these problems. So this is the main problem the political theory have to solve. Political theory को इसको solve करना है. We have to solve as a political science students. हमें ये solve करना है. तो हमें इस तरीके के we have to identify such problems, and we have to provide the solution, because our thing, see, our role is not just to identify the problem. We have to solve the problem. If there is a decline of democracy, if there is a decline of voters, there is a decline of voter turnout in the election. अभी जनरल इलेक्शंस की अगर हम बात करें, तो रिलेटिवली वोटर टर्नआउट काफी ज्यादा कम हो गया है, करेक्ट. Although the population has increased, but the voter turnout is continuously decreasing, and it's not such significant. मतलब डेमोक्रेसी में अगर only 60% लोग वोट कर रहे हैं, so it's really not a very mature thing, correct. What the 40% of the voters are doing, बहुत सारे वोटर्स रजिस्टर्ड नहीं है, जो रजिस्टर्ड है वो वोट नहीं कर रहे. What the other people who are not registering themselves, what the other people who are not going to vote, what they are doing, why they are not, why there is a apathy, जिसको कहते हैं वोटर्स अपैथी एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है अपने आईजीपी में, वोटर्स अपैथी। व्हाई देयर इज अपैथी, मतलब क्यों ऐसे लोगों को लगता है कि हमारे वोट का कोई मीनिंग ही नहीं है, डेमोक्रेसी में हमारे वोट की कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, ऐसा लोगों को लग रहा है। इट्स अ प्रॉब्लम। ये पॉलिटिकल साइंस में एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, जब लोगों को लगता है कि मेरे वोट की कोई वैल्यू नहीं है। सो दीज आर द प्रॉब्लम्स, वी हैव टू प्रोवाइड द सॉल्यूशन कि किस तरीके से हम इसको सॉल्व करेंगे। जब व्हेन देयर विल बी इनइक्वालिटी, जब इनइक्वालिटी होगी तो लोगों को लगेगा कि इनजस्टिस हो रहा है। When there is too much of inequality, there will be feeling of injustice, correct? तो ये सब चीजें होगी और फिर लोगों को लगेगा कि रोड अच्छे नहीं है, वेल्थ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सही नहीं है, करप्शन काफी ज्यादा है, वोट करके क्या ही फायदा है, गवर्नमेंट कुछ करता नहीं है, गवर्नमेंट तो सारी करप्ट है। इस तरीके के जब सेंटिमेंट्स लोगों के मन में आते तो दे लैक। तो इसके साथ आप कौन सा कंसेप्ट जो है पॉलिटिकल साइंस में वो लिंक कर सकते हो? यू कैन कॉल अ क्राइसिस ऑफ लेजिटिमेसी। इसको आप क्राइसिस ऑफ लेजिटिमेसी कह सकते हो, करेक्ट? क्राइसिस ऑफ लेजिटिमेसी की बात हो रही है यहां पर। फिर वो क्राइसिस जो है लेजिटिमेसी की, तो लेजिटिमेसी को किस तरीके से रीइंस्टेट कर सकते हैं, किस तरीके से हम सरकार की तरफ जो ट्रस्ट है उसको इंप्रूव कर सकते हैं, करेक्ट? तो ये प्रॉब्लम्स हमें सॉल्व करने हैं, अदरवाइज द एंटायर सिस्टम विल कोलैप्स। सारा का सारा सिस्टम कोलैप्स हो जाएगा, फिर से अनार्की आएगी, फिर से लॉलेसनेस आएगा, कोई गवर्नमेंट पर भरोसा नहीं करेगा, लोग अपने ही मनमर्जी से काम करेंगे। एंड इन दिस वे देयर विल बी अ स्टेट ऑफ व्हाट वी से स्टेट ऑफ नेचर, जो हॉब्स और जो लॉक कहते थे कि सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के पहले जो स्टेट ऑफ नेचर था, उस तरीके की सिचुएशन क्रिएट हो सकती है। सो दीज आर द प्रॉब्लम्स वी हैव टू सॉल्व, करेक्ट? यहां तक क्लियर है? वी हैव टू सॉल्व द प्रॉब्लम, वी हैव टू प्रोवाइड द सॉल्यूशंस। सो व्हाट एवर द आंसर वी राइट, वी हैव टू हैव दिस अप्रोच कि हमें इसके प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व करना है। देन इनिशियली इफ वी जब पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी एज अ डिसिप्लिन ग्रो हो रही थी, पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी एज अ डिसिप्लिन व्हेन इट इमर्ज, so initially its core emphasis, its core focus on much on the theoretical aspect. It was mainly focusing upon the theoretical aspect. If we understand the evolution, if we trace the evolution of a political theory, अगर हम पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी के इवोल्यूशन को ट्रेस करने की कोशिश करते हैं प्लेटो और अरिस्टोटल के टाइम से, तो प्लेटो वाज मेनली फोकसिंग अपॉन द फिलोसॉफिकल एस्पेक्ट, मेनली फोकसिंग अपॉन द नॉर्मेटिव एस्पेक्ट, मेनली फोकसिंग अपॉन द आइडियल थिंग्स। ही वाज बेसिकली आइडियलिस्ट, so he emphasized more upon the normative aspect of the political theory. Initially the normative aspect was very prominent, but then eventually there was a resurgence of science, correct? Not resurgence, basically there is a what we say, there is a rise of the scientific technologies, rise of the scientific methodologies, correct? So then scholars thought that कि हमें थोड़ा scientific technologies का utilization करना चाहिए, we should use the data fact, we should use some empirical methods to understand the subject, to understand the problem. See, ultimate goal here we have to understand, be it the normative approach, be it the empirical approach, the ultimate goal is to understand the problem, is to solve them. Whether you suggest the idea or you explain the idea. When we say ought to be, ये होना चाहिए, समाज में जस्टिस होना चाहिए, समाज में इक्वालिटी होनी चाहिए, तो होनी चाहिए का मतलब क्या है? We are talking about ought to be, this has to happen, ये होना चाहिए, correct? But when we, so these are the moral ideas. When I say this has to happen, ये होना चाहिए, so that is actually coming from my inner voice, that is coming from my philosophical and moral understanding, correct? And that's why I say it has to be. I am not saying कि ये ऐसा है. When I say कि there are 60% people who vote and 40% people do not vote, so this is the fact, this is the data, and this is not I am saying कि ऐसा होना चाहिए, this is I am saying कि ऐसा है, this is it. This is it. I am not suggesting, I am explaining the situation on the basis of the data and fact, correct? I am explaining the situation on the basis of the data and fact. So there are two different things. So scientific methodologies, empirical approach got too much of buzz and they become very popular. Political scholars thought that अभी तो हमको क्या मिल गया, बहुत जबरदस्त चीज मिल गई, empirical approach मिल गया, अब तो हम फाड़ देंगे, पॉलिटिकल साइंस एकदम जबरदस्त सब्जेक्ट बन जाएगा, पॉलिटिकल साइंस तो एकदम बढ़िया सब्जेक्ट बन जाएगा, एंड वी विल बी एबल टू सॉल्व ऑल द प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ द पॉलिटिकल लैंडस्केप। पॉलिटिकल दुनिया के सारे प्रॉब्लम्स हम सॉल्व कर देंगे क्योंकि हमारे पास मिल गया साइंस, हमारे पास साइंस है। बट इवेंचुअली अगेन दे रियलाइज कि नो, the discipline again got decline, फिर से डिक्लाइन हुआ, करेक्ट? फिर से डिक्लाइन हुआ। व्हाई फिर से डिक्लाइन? इसलिए हुआ बिकॉज सी, I am again coming to the topic, real life problem we have to solve. We have to solve real life problem. So let's say one example, socio-economic inequality is one of the real life problem. This is everywhere, be it USA, be it any country. मतलब there are some reports, index. Can you just tell me what are some reports or index which actually evaluate the inequality among the people, among the nations? करेक्ट? देश की जो बेसिकली रैंकिंग्स है, वो इनइक्वालिटी के ऊपर होती है, करेक्ट। सो इनइक्वालिटी इंडेक्स वगैरह इस तरीके के इंडेक्स, देयर आर सम इंडेक्स, एंड इन दोज इंडेक्स इंडिया का काफी पूरा रैंकिंग होता है। बहुत से जो बेसिकली यूरोपियन कंट्रीज है उनकी काफी अच्छी रैंकिंग होती है, क्योंकि वो एक लेवल ऑफ डेवलपमेंट को पार कर चुके हैं। सो सोशल एंड इकोनॉमिक इनइक्वालिटी इज रियल प्रॉब्लम इन द इंडियन सोसाइटी। अगर हम let's forget about the political landscape, let's forget about the global politics, let's just try to understand the political setup of India. India के political setup को हम समझने की कोशिश करते हैं। And when we talk about political setup, political, social and economic dimensions are always interrelated. So always have a broader aspect, always have a broader approach, always have a broader understanding. Because when you write answers by a broader understanding, you can actually integrate things in a proper manner. When you understand things in isolation, you cannot really do justice with that particular topic, because any problem have multiple dimension. Problem कोई भी हो, problem political भी हो तो भी उसका social और economic dimension होता है, correct? And here you can quote one very important personality in India, who is that social, economic and political democracy he talked about. Just tell me the name here. Just tell me the name here. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, correct. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He talks about. So social economic inequality is the problem. So what is the problem? We understood. Okay. Now, so peace, order and stability. Peace, order and stability. Ultimately हमें क्या चाहिए? Ultimately we want peace, stability and order. चाहे global level पर हो, डोमेस्टिक लेवल पर हो, नेशनल लेवल पर हो, सोसाइटल लेवल पर हो, इंडिविजुअल लेवल पर भी हो। अगर देखो इस तरीके से इसका मैप बढ़ रहा है, इंडिविजुअल लेवल पर, फैमिली लेवल पर, सोसाइटल लेवल पर और नेशनल लेवल पर और इवन ग्लोबल लेवल पर, हम सभी लेवल पर हम एक चीज जो कॉमन चाहते हैं, दैट इज पीस, ऑर्डर एंड स्टेबिलिटी। हम पीस, ऑर्डर एंड स्टेबिलिटी चाहते हैं। दैट इज, यू ऑल एग्री विद दिस? आप सभी लोग इससे एग्री कर रहे हो? ये बात आप मानते हो? दिस यू एक्सेप्ट? ओके। If peace, so if there is a peace, order and stability, there will be a state, there will be a security, there is a harmony and there is a growth, development and prosperity. अगर स्टेट में पीस, ऑर्डर, स्टेबिलिटी रहेगी तो इस तरीके से हार्मोनी रहेगी, ग्रोथ होगी, डेवलपमेंट होगी, एवरीवन विल बी एबल टू एंजॉय, करेक्ट। बट इफ इट इज नॉट, अगर पीस, स्टेबिलिटी, ऑर्डर नहीं है तो देयर विल बी अ स्टेट ऑफ नेचर, देयर विल बी अनार्की, करेक्ट। देयर विल बी अ स्टेट ऑफ नेचर, देयर विल बी अनार्की। जब हम स्टेट ऑफ नेचर और अनार्की की बात करते हैं तो वी रिमेंबर हॉब्स। Whenever we talk about anything, just try to remember any particular scholar who is related to that. This is how you can easily integrate these scholars. Also, now just tell me, just in the 15 minutes and 20 minutes of the discussion, can you not now integrate the contemporary problems in the answer writing? Can you not? You can. It is just a matter of thinking. It is just a matter of developing that perspective. It is just a matter of thinking in that way. बस सोच हमें थोड़ी सी बदलना है, हमें सोच बदलना है बस थोड़ी सी। अगर हम सोच बदलेंगे कि किस तरीके से ये एक रियल लाइफ प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने वाला सब्जेक्ट है और किस तरीके से हमें आज के करंट प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्यूशन प्रोवाइड करना है, यू कैन देन इजीली राइट द आंसर एंड यू कैन इजीली इंटीग्रेट देम इनटू योर आंसर राइटिंग। आप बहुत इजीली आपके आंसर राइटिंग में इंटीग्रेट कर सकते हो। फाइन। नाउ द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज दैट पीस, ऑर्डर, स्टेबिलिटी वाली हमने बात देखी। एक जगह पे यस था जहां पर बेसिकली where the government is basically stable, there is a growth, development, prosperity, and when it is not, then there is a anarchy and there is a state of nature. So now in which condition we like you and me and we all will be able to enjoy the liberty? हम लिबर्टी को कौन से कंडीशन में एंजॉय कर पाएंगे? हम लिबर्टी जो है, मेरी इंडिविजुअल लिबर्टी को मैं तभी एंजॉय कर पाऊंगा, आई विल बी रियली एबल टू एंजॉय माय लिबर्टी only and only when there is a peace, stability and order. And ultimately everyone will agree that हम सभी को अपनी लिबर्टी को एंजॉय करना है। No matter what, I want to enjoy my liberty, you want to enjoy your own liberty and life. So you want a system where there is a peace, order and stability. You agree or not? Correct? We agree. So जब पीस, स्टेबिलिटी चाहिए, हमें लिबर्टी को एंजॉय करना है, पीस और ऑर्डर चाहिए, तो उसके लिए वी वांट टू सॉल्व अ प्रॉब्लम ऑफ इनइक्वालिटी। इफ यू रिमेंबर देयर वाज अ क्वेश्चन ऑन इनइक्वालिटी, ऐसा कुछ तो क्वेश्चन था, पॉवर्टी एनीवेयर इज अ थ्रेट टू द प्रॉस्पेरिटी एवरीवेयर। दिस वाज अ एसे, यूपीएससी ने इसको आई थिंक 2018 2019 समथिंग कभी तो पूछा था, करेक्ट। सो दैट वाज एसे एंड दैट वाज अ वेरी रिलेवेंट टॉपिक, करेक्ट। किसी भी तरीके से इफ देयर इज एनीवेयर फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर हम टेररिज्म वाले प्रॉब्लम को समझे, इफ यू ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द टेररिज्म प्रॉब्लम, सो ये टेररिज्म प्रॉब्लम कहां से आता है? दिस टेररिज्म प्रॉब्लम इज नॉट कमिंग फ्रॉम अ डेवलप्ड स्टेट्स. This terrorism problem is originating in basically such states which are disturbed, which have too much of unequal distribution of wealth, which have too much of corruption. जहां पर बहुत ज्यादा करप्शन है, जहां पर बेसिकली बहुत ज्यादा लॉलेसनेस है, पीस और ऑर्डर बिल्कुल भी डिस्टर्ब है, इन्हीं सब जगहों से ही टेररिज्म आ रहा है. टेररिज्म बेसिकली किसी डेवलप्ड स्टेट से नहीं आ रहा है. अगर हम ब्रॉडर पर्सपेक्टिव से देखें, देखो एक्सेप्शंस तो हर जगह हो सकते हैं, but terrorism is a problem which is not coming from a good, prosperous and developed states. It is coming from underdeveloped, basically underdeveloped and disturbed state, military rule state. ऐसे स्टेट से प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही है. So terrorism is a big problem. Now, so we have to make sure that there is a development. हर कोई व्यक्ति डेवलप हो, हर कोई बेसिकली इंक्लूसिव डेवलपमेंट हो. Then there will be inclusive development, so there will be no inequality. Because if we remember, Aristotle ने क्या कहा था कि inequality is a major cause of injustice is a major cause of this revolution. अगर injustice जो है, ये feeling अगर लोगों में रहेगी कि मेरे साथ अन्याय हुआ है, इसको ज्यादा मिला है, मुझे कम मिला है, if this kind of feeling is there among the people, then there will be a revolution. You can study the French Revolution, you can study the other American Revolution, any revolution, कोई भी revolution जो हुआ है, somewhere there was a feeling of इसको ज्यादा मिला है, मुझे कम मिला है. This was a feeling. इसको क्यों ज्यादा, मुझे क्यों कम. दैट इज अ नेचुरल फीलिंग एवरी पर्सन फील्स. मुझे भी लगता है, आपको भी लगता है, सबको लगता है, क्योंकि हम सभी को लगता है कि मेरे साथ जस्टिस होना चाहिए. अगर किसी को ज्यादा कुछ मिल रहा है और मुझे कम मिल रहा है, सो आई वुड ऑलवेज फील दैट मेरे साथ इनजस्टिस हुआ है, ये मुझे लगेगा. करेक्ट. सो हमें कहीं ना कहीं वी हैव टू मेक श्योर देयर इज अ इंक्लूसिव डेवलपमेंट. वी हैव टू मेक श्योर दैट देयर इज अ सोशल जस्टिस. समाज में सामाजिक न्याय होना जरूरी है, सोशल जस्टिस होना जरूरी है. If the social justice is ensured, everyone will have this satisfaction, and then there will be no such problem of disorder and disturbance to the peace, and then there will be no such problems of terrorism and all that. So then our what is our responsibility as a political science people? We have to make sure that we ensure we provide such policies which ensure the social justice. हमारा संविधान खुद एक ऐसा डॉक्यूमेंट है, our constitution it's such a document whose ultimate goal is the social justice. हमारे संविधान का अल्टीमेट गोल तो वही है ना. संविधान का, हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का अल्टीमेट गोल जो है वो वही है, सोशल जस्टिस इंश्योर करना. इफ यू सी द प्रियम्बल में सबसे पहले यही है, सोशल जस्टिस हमें इंश्योर करना है. दैट इज ओके, सोशल जस्टिस इंश्योर करना है. अब सोशल जस्टिस कैसे इंश्योर करना है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, देयर आर रिपोर्ट्स, देयर आर डेटा, फैक्ट्स. नाउ टू इंश्योर सोशल जस्टिस, अब ये तो समझ में आ गया, यहां तक समझ में आ गया कि हमें हमारा प्रॉब्लम क्या, हमें प्रॉब्लम कौन सा सॉल्व करना है. यहां तक क्लियर है? Are you okay with this, that we have to solve a problem which is a very big problem? We have to ensure social justice because that is the only solution. Let's say in that context, अगर हम इस context की बात करें तो solution के तौर पे हमारे पास social justice provide करना हमारा एक solution है. अब हम solution कैसे, now we have to provide a solution, we have to make sure that there is a social justice. So to ensure a social justice, we need to ensure inclusive development, inclusive growth, and to ensure inclusive development and inclusive growth, what we have to do, we have to provide some welfareistic measures. State intervention is necessary. There is a liberty. We see liberalism क्लास हमने देखा, liberalism में एक होता है कि स्टेट का लिमिटेड रोल, दूसरा जो पॉजिटिव लिबरलिज्म होता है, जो वेलफेयर होता है, वहां पर स्टेट का पॉजिटिव रोल होता है, so that it can enhance the liberty of all, not just to restrict the liberty. So we need a welfareistic measure. For example, in a population of 140 crore people, a country India having population of 140 crore people, we need to have a data of how many people are poor, what caste people are poor. For example, recently we have seen caste census. दो सेंसस होता है, करेक्ट, सेंसस होता है. सेंसस का मतलब क्या है कि वी गेट द डेटा एंड फैक्ट. हम डेटा फैक्ट को गैदर करते हैं, वी गैदर सो दैट, क्योंकि व्हेन यू हैव अ डेटा फैक्ट, फॉर एग्जांपल हम सोशियो इकोनॉमिक सेंसस जो 2011 में हुआ, कास्ट सेंसस जो अभी शायद होगा, करेक्ट, तो कास्ट सेंसस जो है, फॉर एग्जांपल कास्ट सेंसस, सो कास्ट सेंसस, व्हाई वी नीड कास्ट सेंसस, बिकॉज़ वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, बिकॉज़ द इंडियन सोसाइटी इज स्ट्रक्चर्ड ऑन द कास्ट लाइंस, so we have to understand which particular caste is backward, which particular caste has really done well in terms of development. When we have the data of this, then only, again I am telling you, the data, Again I'm telling you the data. Okay, so until and unless we do not have a data, why there was so much of demand of the caste census? Because we wanted a data, because when we will have a data, then only we will be able to design such policies which will ensure the inclusive growth and social justice. So to ensure the social justice, to ensure the inclusive growth, we not just need, because if we talk about social justice की जब हम बात करते हैं, social justice is a normative idea or empirical idea? Tell me, social justice is a normative idea or empirical idea? सोशल जस्टिस इज बेसिकली नॉर्मेटिव कंसेप्ट. जब मुझे लगता है समाज में न्याय होना चाहिए तो ये मेरा नॉर्मेटिव अप्रोच है, ये मेरा नॉर्म है, मुझे फिलोसॉफिकली लगता है कि ये ऐसा होना चाहिए, बिकॉज दिस इज आइडियल थिंग. सोशल जस्टिस इज आइडियल थिंग, करेक्ट. ये मेरा मोरल एस्पेक्ट से आता है, मेरे इथिकल डायमेंशन से आता है. सो दैट्स व्हाई इट्स अ सोशल जस्टिस इज अ नॉर्मेटिव आइडिया. बट इज इट पॉसिबल to ensure to achieve this goal of normative idea? ये जो normative idea है, इस goal को achieve करना without data and fact possible है क्या? It is not possible without data and fact. So just having normative idea is not enough. You need to complement it with the data and facts. You need to complement it with the empirical and scientific approach, correct? And that's where the postmodernism, that's where the basically post-behavioralism comes. That's where the post-behaviorism comes into the picture. Okay, so post-behaviorism is again basically, post-behaviorism tells us the action science. So action science, political science is the action science. It's not a theoretical discipline, it's an action science. ये कोई theory नहीं है, ये action science है, जहां पर हम problems को solve करेंगे. और problems को solve सिर्फ normative या ethical dimension होने से नहीं होगा, उसमें scientific approach भी जरूरी है. तो हम दोनों का mix, दोनों का right use जब करेंगे, then only we will be able to solve the problem. So this is the crux of the subject. ये हमारा subject है, चाहे आप IR लो, comparative लो, be it anything, any aspect, we have to have this perspective. And when we have this perspective, then only we will be able to write proper answer. Now when you will write the answer, you will not just mention the theories, you will apply it in the practical life. Okay, so no theory, any theory, correct, any theory is irrelevant if it is not practically applicable. Right? Any theory is irrelevant if it is not practically applicable, or if it have no practical relevance. Correct? Then it's just a theory, and we don't want theories. There are so many theories. We don't want theories. We want problem-solving techniques. We want problem-solving techniques. So basically, political science is not a theory. Political science is basically a problem-solving book. Okay, ये problem-solving book है. So when we do this, जब हम ये सब करेंगे, इस तरीके से, इस अप्रोच से हम इस सब्जेक्ट को सीखेंगे, देन अवर आंसर्स, हमारे आंसर्स में क्या फायदा होगा? हमारे आंसर्स में थ्योरी भी होगी, एग्जांपल्स भी होगा. इन अवर आंसर्स देयर विल बी थ्योरी, देयर विल बी एग्जांपल्स, एंड व्हेन वी विल हैव थ्योरीज एंड एग्जांपल्स टुगेदर इन एन आंसर, देन अवर आंसर्स बिकम प्रैक्टिकल, कन्विंसिंग एंड ऑर्गेनिक एंड डायनामिक. अवर आंसर्स विल बिकम practical, convincing, organic and dynamic. Okay, it will also reflect, when we our answer will have these things, it will also reflect our understanding of the subject. रीडर को भी समझ में आएगा कि इस बंदे को पता है, इस बंदे को नॉलेज है पॉलिटिकल साइंस का, करेक्ट. ये सिर्फ रट्टा मार के नहीं आया, he have not just mugged up the things, he really understand what is political science, he will get to know about it, correct. So that ये हमारा आंसर में फायदा होगा. दूसरा, we can show, correct, we can showcase the interlinkages and current integration. When we study from this particular approach, we can showcase the interlinkages and all these things. Okay, at the same time we don't fall short of content. फिर हमारे पास कंटेंट की कमी नहीं होगी. जब हमारा अप्रोच ही, हमारा पर्सपेक्टिव ही इतना काफी ज्यादा कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव होगा, तो 20 मार्क का क्वेश्चन हो या 50 मार्क का क्वेश्चन हो, वी विल बी एबल टू राइट, बिकॉज वी हैव सो मेनी डायमेंशन टू डिस्कस. करेक्ट, यू एग्री और नॉट? वी हैव सो मेनी डायमेंशन टू डिस्कस. करेक्ट. सो हमें वो कंटेंट, बिकॉज द वन ऑफ द मेजर प्रॉब्लम इज दैट when 20 marker questions are asked, we fail short of content. हमें लगता है कि हमारे पास कंटेंट ही नहीं है और हमारे पास होता ही नहीं है. बट जब आप इसको इस अप्रोच से देखोगे, जिस अप्रोच को हमने डिस्कस किया है, तो आपको कंटेंट की कमी कभी महसूस नहीं होगी. तो वो वाला भी जो प्रॉब्लम है वो सॉल्व होगा. करेक्ट. And then our answers will become unique, our answers will become very different, and our answers will have a flow and proper content. Our answers will have a relevant content. How it is going to be unique? Because see, not everyone have a same thought process. Not necessary कि सबके दिमाग में सेम टाइम पे सेम अप्रोच आएगा, सेम एग्जांपल आएगा और सेम ही एग्जांपल को वो सेम थ्योरी के साथ इंटरलिंक करेंगे सेम जगह पे. ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं हो सकता. तो आई एम नॉट डिलीवरिंग यू अ कंटेंट, आई वांट टू डिलीवर यू एन अप्रोच. मुझे आपको अप्रोच देना है, मुझे कंटेंट नहीं देना. बिकॉज व्हेन आई गिव कंटेंट, इफ एवरीवन फॉलो द सेम कंटेंट, yes, probably there is a possibility that everyone write the same answer. I don't want to provide you the content. I want to provide you the approach. I want to provide you the perspective. I want to provide you an understanding of the subject. Fine. So this is our basically the approach of our entire course. And then these are the similar political theory parallels. जिस तरीके से political theory में भी political theory decline हुई थी, इसी in the similar way यूपीएससी में भी political theory कहीं ना कहीं decline हुई है. In the UPSC also political theory got decline. जिस तरीके से हमारे मार्क्स कम आ रहे हैं, क्यों डिक्लाइन हो रही है? Why political theory, political science as a subject in the UPSC has declined, if not completely, but at some extent. Why it has declined? Because we are writing the same content. We are not writing the same content. We are not writing on the basis of understanding. We are only writing what we have mugged up. हमने जो रट्टा मारा हम वही लिख रहे हैं. So that is the problem. Our answers are very much theoretical. हमारे आंसर्स में वो प्रैक्टिकल एप्लीकेशन, प्रैक्टिकल ओरिएंटेशन, दे आर कंप्लीटली लैकिंग. We are only and only writing theoretical answers. We are writing answers without understanding the question. Okay, and that's why, that's the main reason that we are stuck in 232 250s. हमारे 232 250s के आगे बढ़ ही नहीं पा रहे. और जिनके बढ़ रहे, they have really done something different which we have talked like. इस तरीके का उन्होंने किया है. उसी वजह से because 250 के आगे जाना पॉलिटिकल साइंस में is quite difficult if you do not have this particular approach. आपके पास दुनिया भर का सारा कंटेंट होगा, आपके पास बेस्ट ऑफ द बेस्ट रिसोर्सेस होंगे, फिर भी 250 260 के आगे जाना मुश्किल है इफ यू डू नॉट हैव द अप्रोच ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर एस्पेक्ट, कि हम इसको प्रैक्टिकल तरीके से किस तरीके से देखें. हम इस सब्जेक्ट को प्रैक्टिकल रिलेवेंस अगर हम इसका नहीं जस्टिफाई कर पाते हैं, then we cannot improve the score. To improve the score, you have to understand that we have to keep in mind that this subject have some practical relevance, and that's why we have to write all the answers in the contemporary aspect. हमें contemporary aspect में इन चीजों को लिखना है. करेक्ट? तो इसको कैसे फिक्स करें? Let's try to understand. As I have already discussed that we have to focus on basically conceptual clarity पर हमें फोकस करना है. हमें रट्टा नहीं मारना है. We don't have to mug up. हमें mug up नहीं करना है चीजों को. Fine. We have to address the demand of the question. As I have already discussed. We have to integrate the contemporary perspectives and the examples that also I have discussed. Okay. We have to avoid some typical stereotypes. There are some stereotypes in the PSIR answer writing कि हमारे पास पहले से introductions होने चाहिए. See, पहले से introduction होना is like deciding the name of a baby which has not yet born. एक बच्चा जो पैदा ही नहीं हुआ उसका पहले से नामकरण कर देना, इस तरीके की वो बात हो गई. See, आपको क्वेश्चन के डिमांड के अकॉर्डिंग आंसर लिखना है. पहले से आप किसी का इंट्रोडक्शन प्रिपेयर करोगे. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज द इंट्रोडक्शन. यू कैन गो ऑन यूट्यूब एंड यू कैन वॉच कपल ऑफ माय वीडियोस वेयर आई हैव एक मैंने हाउ टू राइट द आंसर फ्रॉम द बेसिक का एक वीडियो बनाया, लगभग 1.5 आवर का वीडियो है. आई वुड स्ट्रांगली सजेस्ट, मेरा विवेक वाघमारे यूट्यूब चैनल है, इस पर आप जाइए और उस पर मेरा पीएसआर का हाउ टू राइट द आंसर, इसमें मैंने इंट्रोडक्शन क्या है, क्यों इतना इंपॉर्टेंट है. ऑल्दो वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस ऑल दीज थिंग्स इन द सेशंस, but still you will find that video very helpful. Okay, also one more important thing, if you do not have any idea about that, so I want to tell you, probably you all have idea. मैंने blueprint of PSIR, this is a series, blueprint of PSIR is a series, is basically a revision series जहां पर मैंने चीजों को comprehensively कम से कम टाइम में कवर किया है. So if you are someone who have already completed couple of readings of the political science and he just want a quick revision in a short span of time with an effective manner, then you can go and watch the blueprint of PSIR paper 1 section. Yes, of course I am going to release rest of the sections very soon. Do not worry about it. And the remaining sections will be even more exciting, and they will have more integrations and more that will be interesting video. So I will release it very soon. But have patience. First of all, let's focus upon the political theory. जब तक आपका IGP सेक्शन आएगा उसके पहले ही मैं जो ब्लूप्रिंट ऑफ पेपर 1 सेक्शन है जो है आई वुड हैव द रिलीज. सो वो वीडियो आप देखिए, वहां पर मैंने इन 6.5 आवर्स बेसिकली आई हैव 6.5 आवर्स आई हैव एक्चुअली कवर्ड द एंटायर पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी. पॉलिटिकल सब्जेक्ट साइंस जो सब्जेक्ट है पेपर 1 सेक्शन मैंने कंप्लीटली कवर किया उसमें, और विथ ऑल मेजर माइनर जो भी है डिटेल्स के साथ मैंने कवर किया. सो इट इज वेरी हेल्पफुल. आप अगर देखना चाहो तो मतलब आई सजेस्ट, मैं तो कहूंगा कि आप इसको डेफिनेटली देखो. फाइन. सो वी हैव टू अवॉइड जो स्टीरियोटाइप्स क्या है कि हमें इंट्रोडक्शन रेडी रखना. नहीं, हमें इंट्रोडक्शन रेडी रखने की जरूरत नहीं है. वी डोंट नीड अ वेल प्रिपेयर्ड इंट्रोडक्शन इन द एडवांस. Correct. We have to rather develop such approach, such understanding that we can write any question एनी आंसर, करेक्ट। हम किसी भी तरीके से कंटेंट को मोल्ड कर सकते हैं एज पर द डिमांड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन। वो पर्सपेक्टिव डेवलप करना है, बिकॉज आप कितने क्वेश्चंस के इंट्रोडक्शन तैयार कर रखोगे, करेक्ट। बहुत से क्वेश्चन सडन हो सकते हैं, देयर माइट बी मेनी क्वेश्चंस व्हिच आर वेरी मच रैंडम, which are very much out of the box. You cannot really prepare more and more introduction. How much introduction you can prepare and how can you remember all of them? It's not practically possible, correct? And even if it is possible, even if you do remember, it is not necessary that whatever introduction you have already made is relevant to the demand of the question, is relevant to that question. जो introduction आपने तैयार करके रखा है वो उस question से relevance match करेगा, ये जरूरी नहीं है। और जस्ट बिकॉज आपने प्रिपेयर करके रखा है आप वहां पर लिख दोगे, दैट डजंट मेक एनी सेंस, करेक्ट। तो इस तरीके के स्टीरियोटाइप्स, फॉर एग्जांपल देयर आर 15 मार्कर 20 मार्कर क्वेश्चन, सो इन सच अ क्वेश्चन यू हैव टू स्टार्ट विद हिस्टोरिकल इवोल्यूशन, यू हैव टू डिस्कस 1 or 2 पैराग्राफ, इट्स बैकग्राउंड, ऑल दिस थिंग, दिस इज इररिलेवेंट थिंग, दिस इज ऑफ नो यूज, इसकी कोई जरूरत नहीं है। आपको क्वेश्चन को डायरेक्टली हिट करना है, 20 मार्कर भी क्वेश्चन हो, 50 मार्कर क्वेश्चन हो, there is always a limitation of the space. We have so much things to write and always there is a scope to write too much content upon 15 or 20 marker question. So do not bore or do not basically discourage the reviewer to read your answer. Reviewer should have an interest to read your answer and he will be interested in reading your answer only and only when he realizes that in introduction you have written something relevant. If you have written something irrelevant just to fill the space, don't expect that you will really get good score. So all these things are basically of not use, correct? किसी भी तरीके से वो यूज की नहीं है। Also one more important thing, write what is asked in the question. This is very important. Questions में आपको क्या पूछा है? There are two things, what is asked and what I know. What I know is basically not important. What is asked is important, correct? What is asked is important. You have to write what is asked, not what you know. 95% of the people, maximum people are actually writing what they know. They are not writing what is asked. This is a major difference. This is one of the fundamental thing which is actually keeping us behind. हमारा score improve क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? Why we are not able to improve the score? That is because we are not writing what is asked. We are actually writing what we know. So let us try to understand. Also, do not write essays. We do not want essays. We have to write answer of the question, not essay, correct? So let's try to understand what is the difference between an answer and essay. See, just 15 minutes I will take. Have patience. We will actually understand one more important thing. Examine community and perspective on justice. 15 marker question है, यहाँ तक ठीक है? Okay. Let me ask you. Now this is the question. Examine community and perspective on justice. This is the question. We have to understand the fact that basically every question has a 3 parts. Always remember, every question has 3 parts. हर क्वेश्चन के लगभग 3 पार्ट्स होते हैं, करेक्ट? एक होता है डायरेक्टिव, वन इज डायरेक्टिव, वन इज कॉन्टेक्स्ट एंड वन इज टॉपिक, फाइन? हर every question have 3 topics, 3 basically components. One is directive, second is context, and third is the topic. Now the important thing is that here we have to talk about justice. We have to talk about justice. But see, justice is a very comprehensive idea. Justice have many dimensions. Justice, you can talk about Rawls theory of justice. Justice, you can talk about libertarian perspective of justice. Justice, you can talk about distributive idea of justice. You can talk about basically a Nogic's idea of justice. You can talk so many things about the justice. But are we supposed to write all these things about justice? No. We are only supposed to write communitarian perspective of justice. That is the context. Context actually defines the boundaries of the topic. Now this is the topic. Justice is our topic. But we are not supposed to write basically everything about justice, because justice is an unending topic. We can write thousands pages upon the justice, but we don't have to write everything about the justice. We have to specifically talk about this aspect of justice, communitarian aspect of justice, not everything. You exclude all these things. You only focus upon this communitarian perspective of justice. Okay, so that is the context. So this is the entire topic. But this context actually defines the boundary. आपको इतना ही लिखना है, आपको सब कुछ नहीं लिखना है, आपको इतना ही लिखना है, करेक्ट? दिस इज नाउ, अब हो गया आपका टॉपिक, आपका कॉन्टेक्स्ट हो गया. नाउ यू हैव टू ऑल्सो फोकस अपॉन द डायरेक्टिव. डायरेक्टिव एक्चुअली प्रोवाइड्स यू द डायरेक्शन. डायरेक्टिव का मतलब क्या है? डायरेक्शन. यू से एनी क्वेश्चन in the UPSC, asked in the UPSC, be it comment, discuss, whatever, If UPSC is providing you a directive in the beginning of every question, or let's say at the end of the question, wherever the directive is provided, but without fail UPSC is putting one directive in every question, so it must have some sense, definitely, correct? इसका कुछ तो सेंस होगा जब डायरेक्टिव प्रोवाइड. Let's say what, how we are dealing with the questions. For example, what we are doing, यहां पर एग्जामिन है, let's say, then evaluate है, ओके, कमेंट है, एनालाइज है, एक्सप्लेन है, critically analyze, whatever. Our directives are changing. In every question we have a different directive. But no matter, let's take an experiment. अब हम एक एक्सपेरिमेंट करके देखते हैं, बिकॉज पॉलिटिकल साइंस में हम एम्पिरिकल एनालिसिस भी करते हैं. लेट्स डू एन एक्सपेरिमेंट. आपको मैं 4 क्वेश्चन देता हूं, हर क्वेश्चन में टॉपिक और कॉन्टेक्स्ट सेम होगा, सिर्फ डायरेक्टिव चेंज होगा. एंड लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि हाउ मच वेरिएशन कम इन द आंसर. देयर इज नो वेरिएशन. इरिस्पेक्टिव डायरेक्टिव क्रिटिकली एनालाइज हो, डिस्कस हो, कमेंट हो, हमारा आंसर सेम ही रहता है. Our answer remains same irrespective of directive. It means we are not, even entertaining the directive. हम डायरेक्टिव को भाव ही नहीं दे रहे, हम इसको एंटरटेन ही नहीं कर रहे. क्या इसका मतलब ये है कि डायरेक्टिव बिल्कुल भी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, डायरेक्टिव का कोई रोल नहीं है? अगर ऐसा होता तो फिर यूपीएससी हर जगह सेम डायरेक्टिव क्यों नहीं दे रहा? Why UPSC is not providing the same directive like comment or discuss? No, it is changing the directives because every directive has some meaning. So directive actually direct us. It provides us a direction in what direction we have to take the flow of the content. Content का जो flow है वो किस direction में हमें लेके जाना है, करेक्ट? उसका शेप क्या होगा ये हमें बताता है. तो इन तीनों का मतलब है, राइट? लेट अस ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कैसे. सो दिस इज, फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ दिस इज अ कंटेंट, ये जो पिंक कलर में या रेड पिंक कलर में है, ये बेसिकली कंटेंट है हमारा मेन. जस्टिस, फॉर एग्जांपल, दिस इज जस्टिस. ओके, ये जो बाउंड्रीज है, ये जो बॉर्डर्स है, दीज बॉर्डर्स आर बेसिकली कॉन्टेक्स्ट. ये कॉन्टेक्स्ट है. एंड दिस एंटायर थिंग, जो जिस तरीके का शेप आया, जैसे जैसे बेसिकली उसका डायरेक्टिव बदलेगा, उसका शेप बदलेगा. सो दैट इज हाउ द डायरेक्टिव हैव अ बिग रोल टू प्ले, कॉन्टेक्स्ट हैव अ बिग रोल टू प्ले. नाउ द प्रॉब्लम इज सी, दिस इज वन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग जो मुझे इंस्टाग्राम से ही मिली है. तो अभी मैं इंस्टाग्राम यूज करता हूं, तो मुझे इंस्टाग्राम पे मिला है, मैंने रील भी डाला था ये वाला, ठीक है. तो यहां पर यू कैन सी this is the body of answer. Everywhere you can see the body of answer, but if you see the shape as the directive changes, yahan par, here it is evaluate, here it is evaluate, okay, here it is evaluate, here it is critically analyze. So directive changes means iska jo upar ka shape hai wo change ho raha hai. To how the structure of entire answer got changed, how the shape of the entire answer got changed, this is explained, correct? So this is explained, basically entire shape got changed. This is critically examined. So this is how, basically this is just a थोड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग वे ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग द थिंग्स. बट जिस तरीके से इस मटके में जो ढक्कन वाला जो रोल प्ले कर रहा है, जो ढक्कन चेंज होने से इसका पूरा का पूरा उसका जो पूरा ज्योग्राफी जिसको हम कह सकते हैं, पूरा उसका शेप चेंज हो रहा है. इन द सिमिलर वे डायरेक्टिव चेंजेस, द एंटायर स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ एन आंसर चेंजेस. पूरे आंसर का जो है स्ट्रक्चर चेंज हो जाता है. Now what we are doing actually, we are only writing about justice. Community and perspective of justice question दिख गया, हमारे पास कुछ पर्टिकुलर नोट्स हमने जो रट्टा मार के रखे, we directly जब हमारे पास जितना भी नॉलेज है, we just dump here, we just dump in the question, हम उस पे डंप कर देते हैं. and we utterly ignore this context and this directive. हम इतने आसानी से इसको इग्नोर कर देते हैं जिस तरीके से जैसे इसका कोई महत्व ही नहीं है, as if they have no role to play, as if they are not important. So we actually skip these things. We only write about the topic which is justice. Whatever we know, even if it is community perspective, we will write first Rawls idea of justice, then some typical particular scholars and their typical particular statements without any examples. हम इसमें examples नहीं लिखेंगे, कुछ नहीं लिखेंगे, and we will only talk about justice. So is this addressing the demand of the question? Now you tell me, is it making sense when I talk about justice? No. It is making sense only when I talk in this perspective with considering this particular directive. Without this, if we skip this, this is not the answer. If I write only about justice, then this becomes essay. So in a way, we are actually writing essays, not the answer. This is also one of the important thing which is not helping us to improve the score. अगर हमें score improve करना है तो we have to write answers. We don't have to write essays. हमें answers लिखने हैं, correct? Also similarity in the answers जो है, why there is an answer similar, because we mug up the content. First thing, also we mug up the content from the same source. Now the source is not important here. I'm not blaming, or I'm not saying that you don't read this source or that source, but at least don't mug up. You understand from it, you apply it to the practical relevance, you do value addition, and then you try to write the answer based on your understanding. Don't write similar words which are mentioned in particular notes. You have to just understand. No matter what notes you refer, there are ample amount of material, ample amount of notes available in the market. I'm not saying just you read my notes. Of course, if you read my notes, they will definitely help you, because I am making sure that they are more updated and more aligned and oriented towards the approach of UPSC. So that is my job, and I will definitely do. But it's not compulsory that you read this notes or that note. Correct? You can just go through it. If you feel it is useful, if you feel कि ये बहुत अच्छे है, it is useful for you, then definitely you can go for it. So irrespective of the notes, just focus upon the understanding. Don't just write all the keywords and all the scholars and everything as it is. Just focus upon the understanding. Okay, and then you write by your own. Always write answer in your own language. Always write answer in your own flow, in your own style. Do not copy anybody else's style. Correct? Do not write the content. Fine. So now the question is how our answers are going to be different. That I have already talked about. Correct? Because we think differently. If we write by our own, so our thought process is different. The way we example, every individual integrates example in a very different way. Every individual will have a different examples. Every individual will integrate examples in a very different spaces. Not necessary कि वो हर कोई इंसान सेम ही जगह पे सेम example use करेगा. So obviously our content and obviously our answers will be very much different. So again, some important commitments which I want to make here. We are going to complete the syllabus in time bound manner, like whatever अपना जो schedule है उसके according सारी चीजें timely complete होगी. Not like others की timely complete नहीं होगी, commitment करेंगे, इस तरह का कुछ नहीं होगा. We will update the content. हमारे पास updated content है. Updated content का मतलब ये नहीं कि updated books. Updated content का मतलब every second thing we discuss, every second answer I will discuss on the board. I will provide you the answer, not in the PDF format only. I am not talking कि PDF में मैं आपको updated answer provide करूंगा. I will discuss everything in the updated manner. मैं जो भी डिस्कस कर रहे हैं हम उसको अपडेटेड मैनर में डिस्कस करूंगा. जो करंट एग्जांपल्स है उसको इंटीग्रेट करके ही मैं यहाँ पर डिस्कस करूंगा. ओके, पर्सनल अटेंशन, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. देयर इज नोबडी हु एक्चुअली फोकस ऑन दिस एस्पेक्ट. पर्सनल अटेंशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आई गिव वेरी मच एम्फेसिस टू दिस. एंड दिस टाइम वी हैव टू मेक श्योर दैट वी रियली डू वेल इन द पीएसआर. हम पीएसआर को अच्छे दिन लाएंगे, इस पर हम फोकस करेंगे. एंड इसीलिए पीएसआर के लिए आप ज्यादा मेहनत करो, जितनी मेहनत आप कर सकते हो करो. एंड फॉर यू एनी हेल्प आई एम हियर विद यू. पर्सनल अटेंशन विल बी देयर. फोकस ऑन द ट्रेड. हम ट्रेड पर फोकस करेंगे, क्या चल रहा है उस पर फोकस करेंगे. सिर्फ थ्योरेटिकल चीजें नहीं डिस्कस करेंगे, हम एग्जाम ओरिएंटेड चीजें करेंगे. ऐसा नहीं कि इट्स नॉट, अगेन देयर आर पीपल हु टीच व्हाट दे लाइक. अगर मुझे प्लेटो अरिस्टोटल पसंद है, मुझे स्कॉलर्स पसंद है, तो आई विल टीच स्कॉलर्स मोर. It's not about my likings or anybody else liking. It's about what is relevance, what is needed for the examination. हम एग्जाम के हिसाब से पढ़ेंगे. करेक्ट? एग्जाम के लिए जितना जरूरी है, जिस हिसाब से जरूरी है, उस हिसाब से पढ़ेंगे. नाउ कमिंग टू द नोट्स, synoptic notes. Very important question. Synoptic notes I am going to provide you probably before every session, 1 or 2 days prior to the session, or I will try to I will try to upload maximum documents in the advance, but at least minimum 1 or 2 days prior to the particular session I will update the synoptic notes. You can rely upon the synoptic notes, because right now we are not in a position to read so much of content. We have to read limited so that we can revise it and we can do brainstorming. We can also reproduce them in our answer. So our content has to be limited. Synoptic notes are limited. They will be short and they will cover all the important aspects. Fine. So आप ये पढ़ सकते हो. We will provide you. Okay. They will be provided timely. They have a specific content. They are customized. Okay. This is about then they are current updated also. Okay. They are current updated. Also about directives. As मैंने directives की भी बात की थी, तो डायरेक्टिव्स के बारे में आई वांट टू टेल यू. डायरेक्टिव्स, एक्सप्लेन, इवैल्यूएट, इन सब का मतलब क्या होता है? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ डायरेक्टिव? दैट आई विल टेल यू व्हेन वी विल डिस्कसिंग द क्वेश्चन. लेट्स से टुमारो वी विल डिस्कस 5 क्वेश्चंस. So in 5 questions we will use 3 different directives. 2 questions or 3 questions will be on comment, 1 will be on discuss, 1 will be on examine. So when we discuss the answer, through the answer I will also try to make you understand what is that meaning of directive. So rather than taking a separate lecture on directive, I will try to cover them with the sessions, correct. सो इनिशियली आई टेल यू, इनिशियली सेशन जो है वो हमारे थोड़े से डिटेल होंगे, क्योंकि इनिशियली बहुत सी ब्रॉडर चीजें जो हमें कवर करनी है. एक बार हमारा वो बढ़ जाएगा, मतलब एक बार हमारा सिंक्रोनाइजेशन बैठ जाएगा, एक बार हमारी चीजें सेट हो जाएगी, देन द साइज ऑफ द ड्यूरेशन ऑफ आवर सेशंस विल रिड्यूस ग्रेजुअली. Initially I think 2 hours to 2.5 hours, 2.5 I won't go for 2.5 hours, but 2 hours session will be there initially, but then later on it will reduce to 1.5 hours. I will try to save as much of your time as much possible, but even if we spend 2.5 hours here, I guarantee you it will be worth, and it will change so much in your preparation, and it will add so much value into your preparation. So do not think कि मैं 2.5 घंटा इधर ही करूंगा तो मैं बाद में क्या करूंगा. इधर करने के बाद में आपको ज्यादा करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. बाद में अन्य सारी चीजें करने में जो टाइम वेस्ट होने वाला है वो वेस्ट नहीं होगा, क्योंकि क्या नेसेसरी है वो यहाँ पर आपको कवर किया जाएगा. फाइन. देन as per the question we'll explain all the directive that we have seen. इंस्ट्रक्शन फॉर द स्टूडेंट. अभी आपके लिए इंस्ट्रक्शंस है, कुछ छोटे मोटे इंस्ट्रक्शंस. फाइन. आपके लिए इंस्ट्रक्शंस ये है कि you have to have a strong mindset, you have to have a strong faith and a very positive approach during the entire preparation. As in my telegram channel also I talk about these things because this is very important. So many people बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ाई करते हैं, बहुत नॉलेज होता है, लेकिन पैनिक हो जाते हैं, मैं क्या करूं, ये करूं या वो करूं. इस तरीके के डिस्टर्बेंस में दे फेल टू परफॉर्म एट देयर बेस्ट. अपने बेस्ट पे अगर परफॉर्म करना है तो आपको एकदम चिल, रिलैक्स और पॉजिटिव माइंडसेट रखना पड़ेगा. दैट आपको रखना है, करेक्ट. अदरवाइज इतनी चीजें कुछ सी व्हेन आई टॉक सो मेनी थिंग्स, उसमें से कुछ चीजें हो सकती है, माइट बी पॉसिबल दैट फ्यू थिंग्स आर रियली वेरी हेवी, रियली वेरी डीप. तो उसको अगर प्रोसेस करने के लिए हमें वो माइंडसेट चाहिए, एक पॉजिटिव माइंडसेट चाहिए. फाइन. एंश्योर दैट यू आर कंसिस्टेंट इन अवर आंसर राइटिंग, नो मैटर व्हाट. चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, आपको आंसर राइटिंग पर फोकस करना है, आपको आंसर राइटिंग में एंश्योर करना है. आपको रेगुलरली क्लासेस अटेंड करके लाइव का मतलब ये होता है कि आप वहां पर आओ, बिना प्रिपरेशन के आओ भले ही, लेकिन आप वहां पर आके वो आंसर लिखो. दैट इज वेरी वेरी नेसेसरी. उसके बिना अपनी बात नहीं बनेगी, ये मैं पहले ही बोल रहा हूं. बाद में मत बोलना कि सर मैंने पिछली बार मेंस दिया था, मेरा इतना स्कोर बना, फिर मुझे शायद मेरी आंसर राइटिंग कब पढ़ गए, मैंने थोड़े और आंसर्स लिखते. ये सब बाद में करने के लिए हमारे पास टाइम नहीं है. जो है इसी मेंस में है, अभी है, इसी बार खत्म कर देना है. हमको अगली बार मेंस देना नहीं है, ये आप बात ध्यान में रखो. सारे टॉपिक जो है शेड्यूल के अकॉर्डिंग कवर करने की कोशिश करो. डोंट जंप ऑन टू कि मैं पेपर 2 कर लेता हूं, मेरा पेपर 1 हो चुका है. इन सब चीजों में मत पढ़ो. सिंपली यू जस्ट गो विद द फ्लो, जो चल रहा है शेड्यूल उस हिसाब से चलो, सारे टॉपिक्स कवर हो जाएंगे, करेक्ट. सेकंड थिंग, फील फ्री टू कनेक्ट विथ मी. ओके, अगर हमारा एम 300 प्लस है तो हमें बहुत ज्यादा कॉन्फिडेंट होना पड़ेगा, बहुत ज्यादा हार्डवर्क करना पड़ेगा इन सब चीजों में, कमिटमेंट के साथ. और डेफिनेटली आई प्रॉमिस यू दैट मैं अपना जॉब बहुत ही पैशनेटली, डेडिकेटेडली और बहुत ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट लेके करूंगा. जितना मुझे बेसिकली लगता है, जितना पॉसिबल है उससे कहीं ज्यादा मैं करूंगा, बट आपके एंड से भी वो कमिटमेंट चाहिए, ठीक है. सो बेसिकली पेशेंस रखो, डेडिकेशन दो, एंड वी विल रियली डू ग्रेट. बहुत अच्छा काम करेंगे पीएसआर में. फाइन. सो अगर आपके कुछ क्वेश्चन, इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस, एज आई ऑलरेडी सेड कि मैंने नोट्स प्रोवाइड कर दिए हैं, वो अपडेट हो जाएंगे, शायद आपके पोर्टल पर अवेलेबल होंगे भी, नहीं होंगे तो वो आज हो जाएंगे. डू नॉट वरी, सेशन के बाद तुरंत हो जाएंगे. ओके. सो सिनॉप्टिक नोट्स आपके ग्रेजुअली एक एक टॉपिक के आएंगे, जैसे जैसे जो टॉपिक शेड्यूल में उस अकॉर्डिंग आएंगे, करेक्ट. बिल्कुल आप ये मत, डोंट जस्ट ट्राई टू अब एक दिन में पहाड़ उठाने की बिल्कुल भी कोशिश करने की जरूरत नहीं है, वो अपने लिए काम का नहीं है. आप थोड़ा थोड़ा, करेक्ट. कोई भी बड़ा से बड़ा टास्क जो है वो पीसेस में थोड़ा थोड़ा कंप्लीट करके हम उसको पूरा कर सकते हैं. एकदम से सब कुछ नहीं कर सकते, एक रात में वो एम्पायर नहीं खड़ी की जा सकती. इस कोर्स के अलावा आपको कुछ और, टेलीग्राम आईडी मैं मेरा अभी याद नहीं है, मैं एक बार देख के बता रहा हूं आपको. टेलीग्राम आईडी, हाँ, दिस इज माय टेलीग्राम आईडी. यू कैन टेक्स्ट मी हियर आल्सो @academic_. My Telegram ID, you can text me here. Also, I have given my number. You can text me there. Fine. If you have, should we read topics? अभी जैसे जैसे मैं कन्वे करूंगा, जो जो चीजें बोलूंगा आप वो करो। अभी ज्यादा टॉपर्स कॉपीज वगैरह की अभी हमें जरूरत नहीं है। सी टॉपर्स कॉपीज की अभी हमें जरूरत नहीं है, जब जरूरत होगी तो आई विल टेल यू वेन एवर इट इज नीडेड। This is all for today. I hope you understood the things, and tomorrow we will have our first live answer writing session. So just have patience again, and in the अभी पहले सेशन में ही आपको बहुत अच्छे से आंसर राइटिंग आ जाएगा, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है। थोड़ा धीरे धीरे आएगा, बट यस ड्यूरिंग द कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन सभी चीजें आपकी हो जाएगी, डोंट वरी। ओके फाइन, सो सी यू टुमारो ऑन द सेम टाइम। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर टाइम।